Hello, hi everyone. Welcome to this Healthy Waves podcast, your go to live group podcast where we dive deep into the range of topics with the experts from various fields. So each episodes bring you engaging discussions, actionable insights, and also at the same time, inspiring stories to help you lead a healthier, happier, and more fulfilling life. So sit back, relax, and get ready to ride the waves of knowledge with us. So today we have two special guests, yes, Lynn Wemer and Michelle De Filippo. So welcome to the show.
Thank you, Avik.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Lovely, lovely. So today, dear listeners, we'll be talking about great topic, which is age is just not a number, right? So becoming an Iron Man in 50s and the beyond, and also at the same time, we'll be learning more about publishing your first book by yourself. So it'll be a power packed discussion. So, but before we delve deep into this topic, we'll quickly start with an intro. I'll love to mention this to all of you that Lynn Wemer. So, Lynn is on a passionate mission to transform the lives of women over 50 who struggle with the emotional eating, food addiction, and the obesity. So, with her first hand experience combined with her background as a registered nurse and her master's in nursing, Lynn brings a unique perspective to the table. So she is the founder of Be Fit Beyond 50 and the author of Be Free Beyond 50. So her journey from rock bottom to thriving the success is definitely a testament to the power of mindset and the resilience. So welcome to the show, Lynn.
Thank you so much for having me, Avik. Really appreciate it.
And also at the same time, we have Michelle De Filippo. So a powerhouse in the book publishing industry with over 50 years of experience. So, Michelle is the founder of 1106 Design, a company dedicated to helping authors release the top quality books while also at the same time maintaining the control and maximizing their earnings. So, her mission is to empower the authors with the knowledge they need to make informed decisions about the publishing. So her expertise has helped over 4,000 authors publish like the pros. So you can download her free guide, Publish Like the Pros, a brief guide to quality self publishing. So at you will definitely find it on 1106design.com. And also, I'll put this into the show notes for all of you so that it will be much easier uh, to reach out. So let's give a warm welcome to both of our extraordinary guests, Michelle and Lynn. Welcome to the show, Lynn.
Thank you so much, Avik. It's
Thank you.
great to be here.
Great, great. So, to start with, I mean, this will be kind of more a discussion. So, we'll start with Lynn. Like, if you can share what inspired you to take on a challenge of becoming an Iron Man at the age of 63.
Well, in my early 40s, much to my surprise, after being 16 years of either pregnant or nursing with my six children, um, much to my surprise, I became a runner. And I had thought I was too old at that point. And I had many people telling me that I was crazy, I was too old, I shouldn't be so selfish, so many things. And and then I kind of lost all of that in my later 40s, early 50s as life became more stressful. I got out of the marriage of 30 years, I became a single mom of 2 teenage sons, working a low-paying job, going to nursing school, which I got my nursing degree at 53. and I just didn't have time for myself anymore. And the weight had been creeping on since the later 40s and just kind of culminated in me being pretty upset with my body in the mid 50s, which I had not dreamed for. I mean, I never dreamed I would become a runner. But then after I did become a runner, I never dreamed that I would gain 25 or 30 pounds and not always be a runner. And it really bothered me. And so later 50s or mid 50s, I guess, I just really started working on this, but found the dieting to be every bit of a drag as everybody said it would be. I could not lose it or keep it off. And it was so frustrating. And meanwhile, I could remember what it was like to be so free and so fit and so strong in my 40s. And I wanted that back. I really, really did. And so I started setting goals for myself of, okay, I want to get back to my old marathon time, because I remember how good that felt when I could do a 4-hour marathon. And I kept setting that goal. And I didn't know how to get my mind back to that point to train like I did back then to achieve what I did before, now in my later 50s. And I kept setting the goal, kept failing, setting the goal, failing. And finally, I got this email from the Ironman Corporation 3 years ago now. And it told me about this particular Ironman that was not far from me. And I never dreamed I would do an Ironman either, but it sparked something in me. And I thought, that's what I'm missing. I'm missing that spark of inspiration. And that's what inspired me. And that's what got me started on this journey. And that was August of 2020. And I didn't complete my first Ironman until June of 2023. So it ended up, I thought it was going to be like a 10-month journey, and it was more like a 3-year journey. And I'm just getting started. But meanwhile, I realized, okay, I feel better. I'm stronger. I'm healthier than ever. And I feel more alive than ever. And I had gone through all of this of thinking my life was over, it was too late, all these things. And now here I am, where I never dreamed I would be. And so for me, that's like, I want to help anybody that I can to experience this, because we just have such a tendency to just settle and decide that we're just going to go for the status quo, and we don't reach for something that we feel is beyond ourselves. So that's the I guess maybe long answer.
No, that's really great. Thank you for sharing this. And also quickly we'll go to Michelle. Like, if you can also share like what initially drew you to the world of book publishing, and how you came to establish 1106 design.
Oh gosh, well, I wish I could tell you I had a plan, but in 1972, when I got out of school, I just went on a whole bunch of job interviews, and Crown Publishing in New York was the first one that said yes. So I took the job and just got started in publishing that way. But it turned out to be great. I loved it from the very beginning. And I've been in the publishing industry ever since for 52 years now, amazingly. And no, I don't know how I got to be 72. I honestly don't. But here I am. But I love your story, Lynn, because when you're so busy working, the bad health habits kind of creep up on you. You don't even realize you're creating bad habits and not eating right. You're just surviving day to day and eating the wrong foods and not exercising enough. And in my life, I got inspired to become more healthy after I took care of my mom, and I saw what happens to somebody when your health fails. And so after she passed, I started working out a little bit, nothing like what you're doing, but I got a new attitude about it. And it does come down to mindset, doesn't it? You just have to want to do it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I always tell people it's all mindset.
Yeah.
Every bit of it is mindset.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So
great.
mindset is something is very, very important, and along with the overcoming the challenges also. So we will quickly come to both of you. So Lynn, like you have talked about the importance of mindset in your journey. So if you can share also like how shifting your mindset played a role in your training, your overall success. So
Yeah, well, it's been a long journey for me. So it's hard, but I guess the turning point for me was in after I turned 50, after I had left my marriage, I just really did feel like I was rock bottom. And I felt so stuck. And I realized I do not like being in this place of feeling stuck. And I went to this therapist he was a hypnotherapist, and he gave me a recording. He recorded it in my presence, but it was the words that really hit me and struck me were, "You are enough." And so I really think that was the beginning, at least from the 50s on, of being able to love and accept myself where I am right now, no matter what that state is right now, to know that I am enough. And it somehow unlocked the ability to move forward from that very low, despondent place that I was in. And so it's been a slow journey out of that, and it's just a day by day learning and noticing where the mind is going and whether this is a productive or a not productive path. So I think that kind of sums it up for me. That was the big aha moment for me. Just realizing that.
Got it. So also at the same time, to Michelle, I'd love to ask like, what are some of the common mistakes that do first time authors make or often make, and how can they avoid them?
Okay, well, lots of mistakes by first-time authors, and I think technology is playing a role in our mental health. I know it's certainly with kids, but I think with adults too, because all of a sudden we have all of these messages that we have to be experts at everything, and you have to be a superstar. It's no longer enough to be an ordinary person. I remember life and work before technology, so I see that difference now. And I'm not sure what we have today is is completely healthy. In some ways, it's inspirational, but in other ways, I think it puts an awful lot of pressure on people that we don't really need to have. Now, in publishing, the narrative has gone out that if you've written a book, you should produce it yourself. You should design your own cover. You should format your own pages. You should just read 1,000 articles and figure out how to do it on your own. And I run into so many authors, and you've seen the stories online, that they're overwhelmed and they're frustrated because they try to do it and they don't have the training or experience to do it, and their files can't print, and they're just suffering needlessly. And because there are and always have been experts to help authors produce good books. Major publishers always hire experts. They don't have the author design the cover. They don't have the author format the pages. So this whole narrative is a false one. It's and back in the day, you would tell, if you owned a business, I believe most businesses would tell people what they needed to know, not just what they wanted to hear. And today it's different. There's many, many businesses that will tell authors whatever they want to hear, even though they know in most cases that that's not the best advice.
Yeah.
And it's creating a whole lot of stress for people that really doesn't need to be there. There are many, many people like me in my company. There's other companies like mine that are more than willing to help. And we can have fun putting a book together, and it'll be a better book than you could ever create on your own, because we're trained to do it, and you're a beginner. So, that's why I was attracted to your podcast, Avik, because, healthy mind, healthy life. There's so much suffering going on now, and it's just not necessary.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, but I also believe like it's very, very important for the balanced life, uh, in anywhere, like in the personal or the professional segments. So, uh, how do you balance, like how someone will balance the demanding training schedule with their responsibilities and the personal challenges? So, uh, like Lynn, Michelle, anyone you want to mention or share something?
I didn't hear that question. There was a little bit of interference there.
Okay. Okay. So basically, I'm asking like balancing is very, very important. So, what according to you, someone will balance their demanding training schedule with their responsibilities and maybe some of the personal challenges also?
Do you want to go first, Lynn?
I guess for me, it would be just making it a part of my routine. Whatever is the most important things for me would be, it just, I have to make it part of my life. Like I've already made the decision to do this thing. I've already decided. So that takes out the decision-making process from, okay, am I going to do this or not? Am I going to, no, I've already decided. And it's this time, it's like making an appointment with yourself and putting it on your schedule. Yeah, this is going to happen. So, and I love, Michelle, that you're in the book design and publishing world. And, when I was writing my book, I had to treat it like laps in the pool.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know how to swim 2,000 yards, and it's just 25 yards at a time. And so I had to treat my book writing in the same way. Okay, there's another 25 words. That's another length of the pool down. And just get into that mindset of, okay, this is my time to do this thing. I'm going to do it. And I'm going to keep going until I've done my allotted workout for the day. And there's no argument that way. There's no internal argument that way. It's just
right.
what we do, just who we are.
Well, that's kind of plays into the publishing a little bit. I mean, writing a book is really different than the mindset shift that you have to undergo to publish the book. Two vastly different activities, right? The writing is solitary
Right.
and
Yes.
intense, and you're concentrating. And now all of a sudden, authors are just thrust into the world of book publishing, which is in most cases unfamiliar to them. Some of the business writers are more adept at being able to put together a team and get the book published, the necessary steps. But for a lot of people, it's a completely different lifestyle. You know, all of a sudden they have to figure out how to market the book, how to what experts do you hire? I mean, it sounds nice to think that we can go online and find experts, but if you type in book cover designers, you'll get 10,000 responses. How do you possibly wade through all of that and try to decide which one to work with? And a lot of times, just frankly, authors don't budget enough to get a good job, so they hire somebody who works for a cheaper rate, and they don't get a qualified person, and they find out too late that that person doesn't know how to make the files that are going to be printed. So that's where a lot of the suffering comes in, and that's where my business comes in. We take that burden off the author. We have a whole team here, from editorial to design to ebook formatting, and we answer about 200 or 300 questions along the way as we're working with each author. And we make it easy for them to get from manuscript to market, and without losing their mind, without having to have a nervous breakdown over it. And the way we do it is a little different than most. We are not a publisher. So we help the author distribute the book in their own name so that they make the maximum revenue when a book is sold. There's a lot of intermediate publishers now online that not only charge the author to produce the book, but then take revenue out of their sales when a book is sold. So we don't do that. We just charge for our services, and then we're out of the picture.
Wow.
Beautiful.
So also one more thing is like, so Michelle, like you were mentioning about the publishing thing. So Michelle, to you, like, how do you ensure like that self-published books meet the professional standards? So
Well,
how?
yeah, I was lucky enough to be trained in those professional standards long before there were computers. So what I have hired, really, I'm blessed to have a great team of people who have 10, 20 or more years of experience, and we all just were trained that way, so we know how to do the high level work. And that's the internet is great in terms of opportunity, because anybody can begin to do anything, and that's great. But what's gotten lost along the way is the idea that you should have training and experience and work with mentors to learn your craft before you go out there and start offering it. So we need a little bit more balance in that area too, because sometimes it's very easy to find someone on the internet who's not qualified, and that just leads to bad results for everyone.
Exactly. So coming back to Lynn, regarding some specific challenges or the strategies, like what were some of the biggest physical or maybe the mental challenges that you have faced while uh, training for the Ironman, and if there is, then how did you overcome them?
There have been plenty of challenges, probably more challenges than smooth sailing, and a lot of it, again, comes down to mindset. That I have chosen the mindset that nothing happens to me, everything happens for me, and also everything always works out perfectly for me. I just choose that belief. And then I'm looking for the silver lining in every, just automatically. I've so drilled this into my psyche that that's my automatic response. So I, after getting out of the marriage and, starting my new life, I met this man who, he was a paraplegic, but he was very strong and independent. And we ended up getting married, and we were ready to start this beautiful life together. Well, he got really, really sick, probably, well, I started noticing like a week after we were married, he started going downhill. And so we were married for 9 years before he just passed away 2 years ago.
Oh.
And that was not unexpected, but happened a lot sooner and more suddenly than I had thought. And also, a couple 3 years prior, we had brought his father to live with us, and his father ended up with, well, had already been diagnosed with Alzheimer's, but we didn't know it. And nobody, I don't know if he was even told. I don't know if he knew it, but he had Alzheimer's, for crying out loud. He's not going to go say, oh, I have Alzheimer's. He's not going to be volunteering that information if he even remembers. So anyway, one of the big obstacles for me was I was full-time caregiver for 2 men who were a lot bigger than me and have very serious health issues. And so I think that was one of the biggest things. And then just recovering from the grief of losing both of them within just a couple of months.
Oh my
and
goodness.
Going from this crazy busy household to where I could barely fit in my workouts to silence. And my son lives with me too, and he's very quiet and keeps to himself a lot. And so we went from a major we went through a major shift. And so dealing with all of the caregiving, and then all of a sudden going to like nothing, and dealing with the grief and the sadness and just this major upheaval, it took me quite a while. So from the time that I first signed up for that first Ironman to the time I actually completed, my life is completely different. And it was like I had to learn how to live all over again. So that's one of the obstacles. And I just really realized I can't rush any of this. I need to go through whatever I need to go through, and I need to build the mental muscle along with the physical body that's required. But I just feel like all of that plus so much more, it just made me mentally very strong. But it was a deliberate process. And I still have definitely areas of weakness. I don't have just this iron mindset of it, but I've learned in these areas, like writing the book, here's how I look at it and here's how I go about it. And it's just one foot in front of the other, one step at a time. And there's no one step, especially like in Michelle's world. When you have the path laid out for you, you have the guidance that you need. It may look scary, but there's no one step that's ever going to be beyond you.
You have
what the next step is.
You have a rare level of determination, right? You have no, really, you do. I mean, so many people, we all know negative people who just encounter a small problem and it just flattens them and they give up and never do anything again. And so your resilience is terrific because and it is good advice to take it one step at a time, right? How did the old joke, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time.
Yeah. And I really, for me, it was, I refuse to be stuck. If I feel stuck in some area, I'm refusing that. And that started with that visit to the therapist and him saying, you are enough, got me out of that stuck, or started me on that journey out of that stuck place. It's like, I'm not going to be stuck. I'm going to do what it takes, whatever that is.
That's great. You did great.
So thank you.
Yeah. Doesn't the word caregiving sound so comfortable and easy?
I didn't quite hear it.
The word caregiving sounds just almost like a diversion. It doesn't sound anywhere near as hard as it actually is. And that was my perception.
That was the 24/7. Yeah.
Wow. It's yeah. And you get thrust into it without any preparation too, which was very difficult for me.
Yes.
Lovely.
Yes.
Yeah. It's like all of a sudden you're responsible for life and death decisions for a loved one, and you have no training or experience. The same as publishing in a way. How I don't know any of this. How am I supposed to make good decisions?
Yeah,
exactly.
lovely.
And it's so different. I mean, even with me being a CNA and then a nurse, it's so different when it's your own loved ones, and they are your responsibility 24/7. And you don't get a vacation. You might be able to get away somehow, but you need to arrange it all. That was a big challenge for me.
Yeah. I was lucky. I was able to, and I still work at home, and I don't think I could have done it in any other way except for that. But it was still a challenge. There was just endless doctor appointments, and then figuring out what to do each time another crisis happened. It's terrible. Caregivers need more help than they get.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Exactly. So also, we'll quickly go to Michelle. Like, what according to you? I mean, how important marketing in the self-publishing process is? So, any strategies that you'd recommend for the authors to successfully market their books?
Sure. I mean, marketing is a challenge. There's no question about it. So many books have been written now that when people see a message about a new book, it almost doesn't even penetrate their brain, right? It's like, who cares? It's another book. But I think where people sometimes miss the boat is they forget that the most important first task in marketing is to create a product that people want.
True.
And actually, authors should start thinking about that before they even begin writing. It's like, who am I writing for? What problem do they have? How am I solving that problem for them? To make sure that you're putting all this time and effort into a book that actually has an audience, right? So, and then once you've done that in your own mind, then it's easier to find the audience when it's time for marketing than otherwise. If you just write the book without thinking about who it's for and what problem you're solving, then you have to think, okay, I want to sell my book now, but to who? You really need to write the book for the audience, not write the book and then find the audience. So, but there's lots of research. I mean, we use software programs that can help you find keywords and find what the book should be priced at, what the cover should look like. And that's all, it pulls data from Amazon. So it's real live research that you can start to make some plans around.
That's very, very true. Yeah.
I wish I'd found you a few years ago.
Oh, it's never too late.
That's really lovely. So, yeah, definitely. I was also about to say this thing also. Like, I mean, we should have met prior, like last to last year also. So it would really been great help then. So definitely, nevertheless, so now we are connected. Definitely, we'll get more advice from her. So for sure.
Yep.
So also like so to Lynn, like how has completing an Ironman at the age 63 changed your perspective on the life and the aging? Because we often hear from people about the aging, the life, the changes. So what will you share?
Completing the Ironman really gave me the perspective of don't give up, don't quit on yourself. Because an Ironman is 140.6 miles and you've got 17 hours to complete it. And I was at mile 139.6. I had 1 mile to go and I was spent. I mean, I had no gas left in the tank. I could barely walk in a straight line. And the one thing, I got to the very last aid station, the very last group of volunteers. Yeah. And I was supposed to be done by midnight and it was 11:54 p.m. And I knew a 6-minute mile was not going to happen. And I was so exhausted. And the volunteer asked me, "Do you want to finish?" And I realized in that moment, of course, it doesn't matter if I'm an official finisher or not. I have to finish.
Yeah.
And then he said, "I'll walk with you." And he walked with me that final mile. And it was just such a beautiful thing. It was so meaningful to me and so meaningful to, and actually I did run across the line. I don't remember having done that, but my friend had a video of me actually running across the line. but it was such a realization that you don't give up. You don't quit on something that's really important to you. Mm-hmm. And every time I tell this story, I feel it in my being, it's so powerful for me. And then I can take that lesson that I learned from that moment where I decided, yeah, I'm going to finish. I'm not going to quit. Whatever. If I have to crawl, I'm going to crawl. And I didn't have, I was able to walk very slowly. And I got an email from the Ironman Corporation because I was a little disappointed that I didn't, because I was on track to make that cutoff until like mile 18. I started slowing down and to where I, wasn't going to make it. But I got an email from the Ironman Corporation, I think the next day or the day after, congratulating me on my official finish. So they even though I was 14 minutes after the cutoff, they told me I was an official finisher and gave me the finisher's certificate. I have the proof. I am considered an official Ironman finisher.
Yay.
And what if I had given up 1 mile before the end? I would have missed that huge thing in my life. I would have missed out on so much.
And 14 minutes is not really a big thing, right? In the grand scheme of things.
Well, when you've already been going for 17 hours. I mean, 17 hours. Yeah, 14 minutes is a very small fraction of that.
Yeah.
But I didn't even know how much it meant to me. I can't really comprehend why does it mean so much to me? But this is what I tell the women that I coach, that find something. It doesn't matter what it is. It certainly doesn't have to be Ironman. That's crazy. Don't do that. I mean, do it. Yeah. If that's what it is for you, but find the thing. Like when I got that email, in 2020 saying, oh, there's going to be this Ironman in 2021. And it sparked something in me. Find that spark, find that bit of inspiration that's going to pull you forward toward your dream and what's important to you.
True.
And find the help that you need. Like if it's writing a book, find the expert who's going to give you what you need and get you over all of those stuck places so that you fulfilled your dream of writing that book. And it doesn't matter if it takes you a lot longer or it's a lot harder journey than you thought it would be. I mean, once you find Michelle, that part's easy, but because you got that expert to walk you through, but like even just writing the book and then afterwards marketing the book and, getting it out there, whatever it is, that you've got that inner knowing that I can't give up. I've got to be true to myself. I've got to fulfill this dream in me, because how many books have never been written?
That's
and
right.
Practically everybody says they're going to write a book and they never do. 99.9% never write that book. And it dies with them, and their story dies with them.
No, we have some challenges in that regard too, right? Because in a world where quality doesn't seem to matter anymore, or at least as much as it did, we're kind of sitting here feeling a little bit alone sometimes to uphold those traditional publishing standards. And it's like, why are we doing this? Well, we're doing this because it matters to us, and we know it's the right thing to do for our authors and for ourselves, right? You don't give up if you have a goal in mind. But we're human. It's a challenge. It's like, wait a minute, what are we doing here? Does anybody care anymore about these standards? And fortunately, enough do.
Yes.
Yeah.
My first degree was English. And so I've always cared about such things. And yeah.
Yeah,
So I can
because
relate to that.
it's important. It's
Yes.
a slippery slope, right? If you start to make compromises, then compromises on the compromises, and before you know it, people will pick
Right.
up a book. It won't be an enjoyable read for them, and they might decide books aren't worth reading. So you have to keep the
A
standards up.
lot of people have already decided that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Lovely. So before we like move on, so to both of you, like, how do you continue to keep yourself motivated and driven in to achieve new milestones? Or so, are there any final thoughts or pieces on it? So if you want to share, yeah.
Well, for us, it's we're always serving a new author, right? So every book is a new project, and so we get re-inspired starting every new project. It's easy to stay motivated and to keep the right frame of mind.
Okay.
Yeah.
And for you, Lynn?
And yeah, and for I guess it's kind of similar. Like I could reach a discouraged place. I could let my mind go there,
Mhm.
and I can, sometimes I don't. My body needs a break or whatever, and I think, yeah, I could just drift back into this more sedentary lifestyle. But this is what I'm preaching. This is my mission. I'm here to be an inspiration to a lot of people. This isn't just about me. The
Mhm.
food that I put into my body, the how I treat my body, my aspirations, people are watching. And I'm doing it for me, but I have a bigger purpose too. And I need to be practicing what I preach. I can't just slough off. And not that I don't have to do anything, but I don't have to keep doing Ironmans in order to be credible. But I have to be congruent with myself.
Mhm.
And that I have to be congruent with myself to have a message like what I have.
Mhm.
So if I'm wanting to veer off in some way, I just can come back to that. That's not congruent with who I am. And yeah, there will be some day where I decide, okay, hang up the towel. Maybe I'll do half Ironman. Maybe I'll do 5Ks. Maybe I don't have to keep doing this, but for the right reasons, with the right attitude and the right motivations, not out of the giving up, not out of defeat, discouragement, not out of laziness or despondency or being distracted or any of the millions of things that could come up for us. But I'm staying on track and staying focused in order to be that congruent person who has a message that's worth sharing with the world. And maybe just, I mean, I've inspired people, but if there's that one woman out there who's feeling like she's at the end of her rope and there's no hope, and then my message comes along and she says to me, just listening to you, I have more hope. I have hope again. And that just happened to me recently, that I was just doing a Facebook Live in my group, and she says, and it was on just some random thing, and she says, I feel hope again. And I think it's worth it
Right.
all for that
There's
one
not,
person.
yeah, there's nothing better than that. We have the same thing when we finish a book, and authors will often say, "I can't tell you how happy you made me. I've been working on this book for
Yes.
10 years,
Yes.
and now it's done, and you guys did a great job, and I'm so happy." And that's golden, right? Because
Exactly.
Yes.
we
Yes.
did we did what we were inspired to do, and we made somebody else happy in the process. There's nothing better than that.
And you helped them fulfill their dream.
Yeah, yeah, it's great.
Yeah. It's huge.
That's really really lovely. Yeah. So quickly, will for the listeners, I'd love to get to both of you. Like, so, Michelle, if someone wants to connect with you regarding the books for the publishing, about writing, they can connect with you.
Sure. The best place to get a hold of us is at 1106design.com. And depending on where you are in the process, there's a button there to book a free consultation. We will not pressure you. We don't do business that way. If you just want more information, there's a lot on our website, and you can also download a PDF of my little book called Publish Like the Pros in return for your email address. And that will subscribe you to our newsletter, but you can unsubscribe 5 minutes later if you feel like it. If you just want the book, we get that. And so just, we work for you. That's the most important thing to remember. We don't take your money when a book is sold. We do charge for our services, but all along the way, our job is to make you happy and to help you create a great book.
That's really lovely. And Lynn, if someone wants to connect with you regarding like the suggestions regarding the discussions, understanding how they can connect.
Yes, so my website is befitbeyond50.com, and just like it's spelled out, don't use the numbers 50, but
Mhm.
spell it out. And if you want to see my masterclass, then it's befitbeyond50.com//webinar. And like Michelle said, this will be in exchange for your email address, and you can unsubscribe. But I hope that you will find something really worth listening to in there, as far as developing that mindset that will move you forward in your life and help you not to be stuck anymore in the place that you're stuck in. And you can reach out to me directly, Lynn at befitbeyond50.com. And I hope you will.
Definitely, definitely. And dear listeners, what I'll do, I'll mention all this into the show notes so that it'll be much easier for you to reach out to them. So with this, thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Healthy Waves. And we hope that all of you have found today's discussion on as enlightening and inspiring as we did. Because always remember that every small step that you take towards improving your health and the mindset can lead to a big changes in your life. So stay tuned for more episodes with amazing guests like we have Michelle and Lynn. So we will definitely continue to guide and motivate you on your journey to wellness. So until next time, keep riding those healthy waves. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Abbott.
Thank you, Avik.